Here's something most men don't realize until it's too late. The woman you're dating right now could be showing you every warning sign of low-value behavior, and you're missing them completely. Not because you're blind, but because these signs are hidden. They don't look like red flags at first. They look like normal relationship dynamics, minor quirks, things you can work through. But here's the trap. By the time these minor behaviors escalate into serious problems, you've already invested months. You've caught feelings. You've built routines together. And walking away feels 10 times harder than it should have been at the beginning. That's exactly what low-value women count on. They know most men won't enforce boundaries early because they're afraid of seeming controlling or judgmental. So they push, they test, and they train you to accept treatment you should never tolerate. This video is your early warning system. I'm going to show you 6 hidden signs that reveal who she really is before you're too invested to walk away cleanly. These aren't guesses or theories. They're behavioral patterns that predict exactly how she'll treat you long-term. If you catch these signs now, you save yourself months of frustration, disrespect, and wasted energy. Here's sign number 1. Before we go further, let me be clear about something. This video isn't about attacking women or being toxic. It's not about viewing every woman with suspicion or building walls around yourself. This is about understanding behavioral patterns that predict relationship outcomes. It's about recognizing the difference between a woman who's testing you because she's interested and one who's manipulating you because you're convenient. Most men have never been taught what to look for. Society tells you to be less judgmental, more understanding, more patient. And those are good values with the right person. But with the wrong person, those same values trap you in relationships where you're constantly giving and she's constantly taking. Here's what you need to understand. Low-value behavior isn't always obvious. It shows up in subtle ways, small inconsistencies, things that don't feel quite right but aren't dramatic enough to call out. She cancels plans last minute, but always has a good excuse. She needs your emotional support constantly, but disappears when you're going through something. She demands to know where you are and who you're with, but gets defensive when you ask her the same. And here's what most men don't understand. These aren't isolated incidents. They're tests. She's seeing how much you'll tolerate, how far she can push your boundaries before you push back. And every time you let it slide, every time you tell yourself, it's not that big a deal, or maybe I'm overreacting, you're teaching her that this behavior is acceptable. Ask yourself, how many times have you ignored your gut feeling because you didn't want to seem insecure or controlling? How many red flags have you rationalized away because you were afraid of losing her? Here's the brutal truth. By the time these small behaviors escalate into major problems, you're already emotionally invested. You've spent months building something. You've introduced her to your friends, your family. Walking away feels like admitting failure, so you stay, you tolerate more, and the cycle continues. That's the difference between men who waste years in toxic situations and men who recognize patterns early and walk away with their dignity intact. High-value men don't wait for rock bottom to set boundaries. They see the signs at the surface level, and they act immediately. That's where most men fail. And that's exactly what we're about to fix. Here's what we're covering. 6 hidden signs that reveal who she really is. 1. She makes everything about her needs. 2. She tests your boundaries constantly. 3. She has no female friends, only male orbiters. 4. She doesn't take accountability for anything. 5. She keeps her options open while demanding your commitment. And 6. She disappears when you need support. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear framework to spot these patterns early, before you're emotionally invested, before you've wasted months, and before walking away feels impossible. You'll never miss these signs again. Let's start with the most dangerous one. Sign number 1. She makes everything about her needs. This is the most dangerous because it doesn't look selfish at first. It looks like she's opening up to you, sharing her problems, being vulnerable. But here's the pattern. Every conversation redirects to her life, her stress, her drama. You try to share something important from your day. She listens for 30 seconds, then pivots back to her story. You're dealing with something difficult. She makes it about how your stress affects her. You text her good news. She responds with her own problem that needs attention right now. She treats you like an emotional dumping ground. You give support, energy, attention, but when you need the same, she's suddenly busy, tired, or not good with emotional stuff. This is narcissistic supply behavior. You're not a partner, you're a utility. Your role is to make her feel heard, validated, and important. Her role? To take. Here's how to test this early. Share something meaningful to you. A goal, a challenge, a win. Watch her response. Does she ask follow-up questions? Does she remember it the next day? Or does she give a quick, "That's great," and immediately shift focus back to herself? If this happens 3 or more times in the first month, it's not a bad day. It's a pattern. And patterns don't change. They intensify. A high-value woman reciprocates. She celebrates your wins. She supports your struggles. She remembers what matters to you. If the conversation is always about her, she doesn't see you as an equal. She sees you as an audience. But that's just surface-level selfishness. The next sign is more subtle and way more dangerous. Sign number 2. She tests your boundaries constantly. And here's what makes this dangerous. She's not just crossing lines randomly. She's strategically testing how much control she can establish over you. It starts small. She shows up late to dates. No apology, no real excuse, just traffic or lost track of time. You let it slide because you don't want to seem controlling. Next time, she's even later. You mention it bothers you. She gets defensive, makes you feel like you're overreacting. Then it escalates. She demands access to your phone while keeping hers locked. She makes jokes that subtly disrespect you in front of your friends, then tells you you're too sensitive when you call it out. She cancels plans last minute repeatedly, but loses it if you do it once. This is manipulation testing. Every boundary she crosses without consequence teaches her she can push further. Every time you back down after setting a limit, you're training her that your boundaries are negotiable. Here's the brutal reality. A woman who respects you doesn't need to be told basic boundaries 3 times. She doesn't guilt-trip you for enforcing them. She doesn't play victim when you call out disrespectful behavior. The test is simple. State a boundary once, clearly. I need you to be on time, or let me know in advance if you can't make it. I'm not comfortable with jokes like that in front of others. If she violates it again, you have your answer. Not about the behavior, about her. She heard you. She understood you. And she chose to cross it anyway because she's testing if you'll actually enforce consequences. High-value women don't play these games. They respect stated boundaries because they respect you. Now, the first 2 signs were about what she does to you. The next 4 signs are about how she reveals who she actually is. Sign number 3. She has no female friends, only male friends. Pay attention to this one. When a woman claims women are too much drama or "I just get along better with guys," that's not a personality trait. That's a red flag. Here's what this reveals. She needs constant external validation. Female friendships require authenticity, reciprocity, and emotional maturity. They don't tolerate attention-seeking behavior or manipulation. Male friends? They tolerate everything because they're waiting for their chance. Look at her phone. She's always texting guys as friends. She has orbiters, men who orbit around her, giving attention, validation, and emotional support, hoping one day she'll pick them. And she keeps them there intentionally. She posts thirst traps when you're busy. She triangulates you with other men to make you jealous. She mentions her guy friends strategically when she feels you pulling back. This is attention addiction. She doesn't want a relationship built on mutual respect and depth. She wants a rotation of men competing for her validation. Here's the test. If her best friend is a guy who clearly wants more than friendship, that's your answer. High-value women don't keep men on the hook. They maintain clear boundaries. Their closest friendships are with other women because those relationships are built on respect, not sexual tension. This pattern correlates directly with monkey branching and cheating behavior. A woman who needs constant male attention doesn't turn it off when she's in a relationship. She just hides it better. Now we're getting to the patterns that reveal character at its core. Sign number 4, she doesn't take accountability, ever. This is the sign that predicts toxic relationships. Listen carefully. A low-value woman will never admit fault. Every problem is someone else's responsibility. Her ex was crazy. Her last 3 relationships ended because they couldn't handle her. She lost her job because her boss had it out for her. Notice the pattern? She's always the victim, never the contributor. Here's what happens when you try to address something she did. She deflects. She gaslights. She rewrites history to make herself innocent. You bring up a specific thing she said that hurt you. She denies saying it. You show her the text. She claims you're taking it out of context. You explain how her behavior affected you. She flips it and makes you the problem for being too sensitive. She'll never say, "I was wrong," or "I'm sorry for how I handled that." Instead, you get, "I'm sorry you feel that way," which isn't an apology. It's blame disguised as one. Ask yourself this. In the time you've known her, has she ever genuinely taken accountability for a mistake? Has she ever admitted fault without adding, "but you did this too"? Has she ever apologized without making herself the victim? If the answer is no, you need to understand something. A person who can't admit when they're wrong can't grow. They can't learn. They can't be a real partner. Every argument will be your fault. Every issue will be your responsibility to fix. And you'll spend years walking on eggshells, doubting your reality, wondering if you're the problem. Here's how you test this. Gently point out something small she did, a forgotten commitment, a minor inconsistency. Watch her response. Does she own it? Or does she defend, deflect, and make you feel like you're attacking her for bringing it up? That response tells you everything. Because if she can't handle accountability on small things, she'll destroy you on big ones. This isn't just a red flag. This is the red flag. Everything else on this list gets worse when combined with zero accountability, but it gets worse. There's still more to watch for. Sign number 5. She keeps her options open while demanding your commitment. This is about respect, or the complete lack of it. She won't delete dating apps. She's not ready for labels, but gets upset when you talk to other women. She's vague about exclusivity, but acts possessive over your time. She won't post you on social media, won't introduce you as her boyfriend, keeps you separate from parts of her life, but expects you to be fully committed to her. Here's what she's doing: monkey branching. She's keeping backups in rotation while testing if you're the best option. She won't let go of the current branch until she's secured the next one. That branch is you, but she hasn't let go of the others yet. Look at the asymmetry. You're expected to act like a boyfriend, available, attentive, exclusive. She gets to act single, keeping her options open, maintaining male attention, staying independent. Why do men tolerate this? Scarcity mindset. They're afraid if they push for commitment, she'll leave. So they accept the half relationship, hoping eventually she'll choose them. Here's the truth. A woman who wants you doesn't need 6 months to decide if she's ready for a label. She doesn't keep exes texting her just as friends. She doesn't hide you from her world while demanding access to yours. The test is simple. By date 4 to 6, you should have clarity on exclusivity. If she resists, if she says, "let's just see where it goes," if she's not enthusiastic about being exclusive with you, walk away. Her hesitation is your answer. High-value women don't play these games. They know what they want. And when they want you, they commit. Fully. Not halfway. And this brings us to the final sign. The one that reveals everything. Sign number 6. She offers zero support during your challenges. This is the ultimate test of partnership, and it reveals who she is when the spotlight isn't on her. A low-value woman is only present during the good times. The moment you're stressed, struggling, or going through something difficult, she disappears. You lose your job? She's suddenly not good with emotional stuff. Your family member gets sick? She makes it about how your stress is affecting the relationship. You're dealing with a personal crisis? She gives you the silent treatment because you're not fun anymore. Watch what happens when you show vulnerability. A low-value woman doesn't lean in. She pulls back. She punishes you for not being strong enough, entertaining enough, available enough for her needs. Here's the pattern. When she has a problem, you're expected to drop everything, listen for hours, provide solutions, offer comfort. When you have a problem, you get, "I don't know what to say," or "You'll figure it out," or complete silence. This is fair weather partnership. She wants the benefits of a relationship without the responsibilities. She wants you to be her rock while offering you sand. Contrast this with a high-value woman. When you're struggling, she steps up. She doesn't run. She doesn't make your pain about her feelings. She shows up. She supports. She becomes stronger when you need her most. Here's the test. Share something real that you're dealing with. Not surface level. Something that matters. Watch her response. Does she engage? Does she check on you later? Or does she change the subject and make the conversation about her again? A partner who abandons you during hardship will never be there in the long run. Marriage, business struggles, health crises, real life is full of challenges. If she can't handle you having a bad month, she can't handle a life with you. That's it. 6 signs. Now you know what most men miss until it's too late. But here's the part most men don't want to hear. Here's the truth that's going to sting, but you need to hear it. If you've noticed even 2 or 3 of these signs, and you're still staying, the problem isn't just her anymore. It's you. It's your scarcity mindset. It's you choosing to ignore red flags because you're afraid you can't do better. It's you making excuses for behavior you know is wrong because being in a bad relationship feels safer than being alone. And until you face that, nothing changes. You'll keep attracting low-value women because you're operating from low-value energy. You're accepting crumbs because you don't believe you deserve the full meal. Now, I know how that sounds. It feels harsh, but this isn't about attacking you. This is about the truth that sets you free. A man with options and self-respect doesn't tolerate these behaviors. He doesn't need to convince a woman to treat him well. He doesn't stay hoping she'll change. He recognizes the pattern, sets the boundary, and if it's crossed, he walks. No explanation needed, no second chances, just done. Ask yourself, are you staying because she adds value to your life? Or are you staying because you're afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, afraid no one else will want you? What would you tell your best friend if he described this relationship to you? Would you tell him to stay and hope for change? Or would you tell him to have some self-respect and walk away? That shift, from scarcity to abundance, from hoping to standards having, changes everything. Because the moment you start valuing yourself, you stop tolerating people who don't. Now I want to hear from you. Have you experienced any of these signs? Which one hit closest to home? Have you walked away from a relationship because of these patterns? Or are you dealing with this right now? Drop your story in the comments below. I read every single one. This isn't just me talking at you. I want to hear your experience. What worked? What didn't? How did you handle it? Because this isn't just about identifying low-value women. This is about building a generation of men who have standards, who know their worth, who refuse to settle for relationships that drain them. Too many men waste years tolerating disrespect because they think having standards makes them shallow or judgmental. But here's what I need you to understand. Being selective isn't shallow. It's self-respect. A high-value man doesn't accept low-value behavior. Period. He doesn't stay hoping she'll change. He doesn't make excuses. He sees the pattern early and he walks away with his dignity intact. And when you start operating from that frame, when you start valuing yourself and setting actual boundaries, everything changes. The right woman will respect your standards. She won't test them. She won't punish you for having them. She'll rise to meet them. The wrong woman? She'll resent you for them. And that resentment tells you everything you need to know. Remember, walk away from women who drain you. Invest in women who elevate you. That's how you win.